HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media podcast. And before we get into our dope MC for tonight, as always, got to give a shout out to everyone that makes it possible from the HHDG Media crew. Rock Vader KB, the Mayor, Skelly Top, T. Smith, and myself, Wiki. Shout out to Facebook group, hip hop discussion group, as always. I know y'all tuning in as always. And as always, tell us about some new music that you might be listening to. Anybody listening to that blend tape that came out recently with Nas, Christmas tunes? There's a few Christmas beat tapes out as well right now. Jeff Brown got one out. Definitely should check that out. Jazz Soon got one out. Just to name a few. But I'm not going to talk anymore about the new music right now. Right now, we about to talk about an artist coming out of New Jersey who spits that raw, gritty street that a lot of us came up on. And the imagery that comes with it is part of his expertise. It's also him giving us his personal life. And he's worked with some well-known artists that we will get into, as well as some up-and-coming producers that y'all need to put on your radar if they're not already. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce DRE Colombian Raw.
Yo, what's good? Peace.
Peace. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Definitely. Now, before we start, your rhymes come from your personal life. Tell us how that was coming up in Inglewood.
Well, I mean, Inglewood, back in the day, back in, the 90s, all that, it wasn't what it's like right now. Right now, you had a lot of the Jewish people with money that moved in and cleaned it up a lot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But back in the day, it was tough. I'm not gonna sit there and say it was a ghetto, because it wasn't a ghetto. We had our little spots, mm-hmm. But you had a bunch of you had a lot of Colombians over there. So the drug game was serious over there. You had blacks, you had Puerto Ricans, a lot of people from New York lived there too, but it was I can't sit there and tell you it was completely hood, but
mm-hmm. It had its areas.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I grew up there, probably until when I was 18, I moved down to Florida. And, Florida, that's a whole nother chapter where I talk about that a lot too in my rhymes. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was at for 20 years. And, I'm back up north now, but yeah, that's pretty much, everything that I talk about is everything I've lived throughout a lot of the stuff. And then, of course, just rhyme,
Yeah. Definitely. Now, when did the rhyming become part of your life?
Well, man, when I first, I gotta say, back in when the Wu-Tang first album came out, my mom's, she moved us out of Inglewood, and we went to Columbia for a whole year.
Okay.
And I had a little Walkman. So I put the Walkman on, and I used to sit in front of the little apartment I lived in. Mm-hmm. And I used to watch the kids that used to come home from school, and I used to just sit out there, and I'm listening to Wu-Tang. and people thought I was crazy because they didn't know what I was saying. I'm rapping in English and nobody knows
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing, so they thought I was just some crazy kid sitting on the porch. And you know, the way like "Old Dirty Bastard" came out, you know, like like that really drew a lot of my attention to hip hop. And then um, when I first heard "Shook Ones" from Mobb Deep,
Mm-hmm.
that's what made me want to write from there on. And I put a little crew together like in '96. We was doing our little stuff. We had mixtapes going all around, the hood and stuff. And we were known, but it all stopped back when I had my first kid. I was 17 turning 18, and I kind of like stopped for a while. And it was that same kid that told me, "Yo, Dad, I be hearing you rhyme when you hang out with your friends and stuff." He's like, "Why don't you get back into that?" And I'm like, I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I will. So, after years of doing like beats for people and stuff like that, because I was producing for a little bit, um, I decided just to throw out an EP and let me see what I could do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I came out with the Dre's Corner Part One, and the rest was history from there. A lot of people enjoyed it, and
Yeah,
it brought me back to life. you know,
got that feeling back in you.
yeah, for sure. I didn't write anything for a long time, man, and I was like, I'm always freestyling with people and battling people, and everybody thinks I was nice, and I'm like, all right, I might as well try. Let me stop making the beats and let me put those beats to use, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got rid of a lot of beats that I've been holding on to for a long time, and then finally, you know, created my style again.
That's dope. Dope. Now, being that Prodigy is one of your influences, give us give us a glimpse of one of those times where P's verses just got you.
Um, that joint that he did with Nas, the self conscious joint,
Mm.
that right there was like one of the most iconic verses I heard him spit. That I was just like man, like this is something different, like him talking to himself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's crazy because I felt that way, and I used to do that. I used to talk to myself like I'm looking out for myself, and I'm pretty sure everybody does the same thing too. But nobody ever put it in the song at that
Right.
moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. But also when I heard him on the LL Cool J joint that he had on the Mr. Smith album, um, where he spit that verse where Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey man, this is crazy, man. And then of course, the whole first Infamous album was just like everything that you was actually going through at that time is what they were talking about. How this is just all the crazy stuff they used to talk about. From the selling to the robbing to it's what we were doing too.
It's relatable. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they, because like I said, I graduated more to the streets than I did anything else. Like I'm not a commercial rapper. I didn't, even though I hear I got a sound for it that I could be, but I just don't gravitate to that. Like I don't, it don't thrill me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah, I don't know. And like all them street rhymes, it's just always been a part of me. And then you know, me being able to tell my own story in my own way, and it just, I don't know. This is dope, man.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, that go to hip hop music because it relates to either how they are at that time or how they came to be.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of the other music that they don't listen to. That's that's what they gravitate to because they got that connection, and
Yeah.
that was a connection for you. And another artist with a whole crew of people that I've been fans of since they came out was the Boot Camp Click, and Sean Price was another one
So
of your influences.
yep, Sean Price. Yep. He was his slick talk, the way he brought it out was just like, man, I love this man. You know, like there's nobody else with his style. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like his style, he stood out no matter what he did. You know, he stood out. Like I've watched the man in freestyles, you know, on these shows and all it, and it's just like his verses. Like even though Rock had a serious voice,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just Sean P was just, you know, he pulled everybody to him. You know what I mean? It was just, and yeah, that Nocturnal album, that's one of my favorite albums of all time right there. You know, I got a few favorite albums, and that's one of them right there for sure. Like I can
Yeah,
play that from beginning to end.
yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites out of the whole Boot Camp.
Yeah, definitely. As speaking of boot camp, I was a big Smith and Wesson fan too. You know, they was definitely up there for me too. But yeah, Sean Price was yeah. I could see I could see some of the slick stuff that I say. You know,
Mm-hmm.
kind of you can see a little Sean Price come out of me. You know what I mean? But yeah, there ain't no style like his.
Nope. Mm-mm. And you know how you relate to the grittier side of hip hop as opposed to the commercial side kind of reminds me of my father with the TV shows, the Cosby Show and Good Times.
Uh-huh.
He couldn't stand Cosby Show because that's not how he grew up. He was more
Yeah,
on the good time side, so that's the type of show that he enjoyed.
yeah, nah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's what you relate to. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's no. I mean, like okay, you know, yeah, you in the clubs and you do this, you pop bottles and all that, but that's not what you do every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every day is a struggle. You know, you got to provide, you got to put food on the table. How you doing it? You know, I'm not saying you always got to hustle and, you know, gang bang just to make money and stuff. Nah, it ain't like that. You know, a grind is a grind, whether you're doing
Yeah.
it legit or not. You know,
Yeah.
um, I don't, I don't condone a lot of the things I did growing up. You know, it's not something that you know I let people like. It's not something that I how do you say? It's not something that I promote. Like I don't agree with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it, but at the same time, I'm glad I went through a lot of this stuff. You know, because it made me who I am today.
Yep.
It made me find myself as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I got a lot of stories to tell. Some of them I will never talk about. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because you know it
You
gets
won't put
too
yourself
personal.
in that situation. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too personal, family involved. You know, just stuff like that. I won't do that. You know, but it, but you're definitely gonna get, you know, a lot of real from me.
Definitely. Definitely. Now, growing up in Inglewood, were there any um were there any people that were associated with Sugar Hill Records that you seen coming up around that time?
Well, I know AZ used to go there a lot. Um, we used to see AZ in the hood all the time. You know, he was actually cool because he would be, you know, he seen people. You know, he wasn't one of those that was shy from his fans or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that was cool. But I'm trying to think who else I seen over there. I don't none. I mean, probably just the regular people from Sugar Hills was there all the time. Um, but like I I I wanted to say I almost booked a session once over there when I was
Oh.
younger, but you know, if it didn't go through because the dude who was kind of like trying to manage me and my crew at the time,
Mm-hmm.
he he had some problems, with the law at the time, so it kind of it didn't fall through. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But yeah, but I mean, we used to see a couple people. I think KRS-One was out there. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. This was a long time ago, you know. But I mean, well, we used to see all kinds of people come through, like that movie Belly, for example. A lot of people don't know this, but that scene where Method Man comes up to the dude and is like, "Yo, who the illest nigga in Nebraska?" And then that barbershop that dude was in using the phone, that's his barbershop in Inglewood. And they made it seem like there was in Nebraska. I remember because we all crowded up that whole block. It's right next to the liquor store where we used to hang out at all the time. And I mean, I'm talking about like thousands of people out there, partying, yelling, everything, watching all these dudes, DMX, everybody out there, And I just wish they would have put Inglewood on the map the right way. You know what I'm saying? But,
It's true.
Other than that, like, I mean, I think there's a couple, movies and stuff have been filmed around it too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Belly was one that really stood out because of that scene.
Now, being a Colombian, what's one of your favorite foods?
My favorite foods, I'm really, I was real big on Chinese food growing up. That's really, as I got older, I graduated to Italian food a lot. But I love me some Colombian food too, though. There's a Colombian dish. It's called bandeja paisa. And if you ever walk into a Colombian restaurant, make sure you order that. I think it's a big meal, and you eat like a king when you eat that one. It's so many items on that plate. I can't even express it to you right now. It's one of those. But yeah, definitely. As right now, Italian food, is my number one.
And with your rhymes, you always, you throw a little bit of your roots in there. You mix it up.
Yeah.
That always comes easy for you when you're doing your writing for your songs.
Yeah, I like mixing it up too. Sometimes, like my girl, for example, she be telling me like, when you say something in Spanish, don't translate it back in English so people understand what you're saying.
Just keep going with it.
She said, let them look it up, because sometimes I say a bar and then I say, what it what it means. You know what I'm saying? Like, so she tells me, yeah, you should just let people look it up or something, and keep them thinking like, oh, what did you just say? But yeah, I like to mix it up like that because I think it sounds dope. It makes people like, oh, oh, look what he just said. Like, what he say? You know what I mean? So,
Dope. Now, when it comes to your projects, there's three names that I usually see: Meth Luciano, Casablanca, and G Fan Black.
Those are my guys right there, man. The first one I met was Casablanca. I hit him up about doing the verse, and this is when I just dropped the Dre's Corner 1, and I was working on another project which is actually Plomo, but Plomo was supposed to come out like right after Dre's Corner 1, and it got delayed because I didn't have the beats, and I was having problems with my equipment, so I put that on the side and started doing other things. But that song, Body for a Body, with me and Casablanca, that's the first track me and him ever did together. And I was like, look, I got this beat that I made. I'm like, I've had this beat for like 4 years. And I met him through SoundCloud. and then that's how we exchanged information or whatever. And then once I got the Twitter running, we started talking through Twitter. And but since then, that's how I met Luciano, because him and Casa, that they grew up
Yeah, they're
together.
tight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when Meth heard me, he was like, "Yo, I want we should do a collab." So I said, "No doubt, let's do this." I'm trying to get myself out there too.
Yeah.
And we did just trying to remember the name of the song that we did. But this was off of Meth Luciano's album. So I collabed with him on that one. And then as far as G Fam, it was the same way. He hit me up out of nowhere and was like, "Hey man, I got a track for you that I think that you'd be perfect on."
That's
And I
dope.
was like, "Let's do it. Let's do it." I got love for everybody. You know what I mean? And if I'm feeling your style, I'm definitely jumping on it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely jumping on it. So, um, the rest was history. It's just like, from there on, it's like, we just kept coming up with ideas, newer things. And, me and Casablanca got a project coming out
Mm-hmm.
together. And we're going to call it Casa del Raw. And, it's coming out sometime next year. I don't know exactly when because we're still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that it's in the mix. And the whole project is produced by Cappuccino. So, he works a lot with Casablanca too.
Yeah.
And but that's definitely, something to look forward to.
Dope, dope. Yeah, definitely shout out Casablanca. He got that Extreme Excellence that just recently came out.
Yes, sir.
Dope
Yes,
project.
sir. That project is serious.
Yep, yep. Now, before Dre's Corner 2 came out, you had, what was that, 1982?
Yeah, produced by 10 Beats. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's another dude that was on Twitter. I was like, "Yo, I heard you make some dope beats," and then he was like, "Yeah, I do." So he sent me a pack, and then, we did this little EP, and we had some joints on there that are head turners.
Y'all don't hear me. That's my joint off of that.
Yeah, people sleep on that track. I love that track. I definitely love that track.
I
That's
think
that's that's
that yeah. See, I'm surprised. I'm kind of surprised, but at the same time, that track right there, that's like if someone would said, "What what track would I recommend for you?" I think that would be one of them.
that's dope. That's dope, because I praise that track a lot.
Hmm.
There's a lot of meaning to that track. You know what I mean? Just
And then what was the next project? Because
the,
before Dre's Corner 2, there was one. There was another one, right?
yeah, Rap Machine.
That's right.
Yeah, Rap Machine. Yeah, that one right there. Um, yeah, I dropped those on the same week. I think those two projects. Like I was working on both of those projects at the same time, and those are the two projects that I ended up dropping instead of Plomo. So some of the tracks that I have for Plomo they went on the Rap Machine joint, like the that song with True Words
Mm-hmm.
that I know that was gonna go on Plomo, and then I was like, nah, you know what? I want this out now. So put that out. That's one of my favorite tracks on that album. And then I did that Self Motivate one where I'm talking to myself, influenced by Prodigy on that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's one of my favorite joints on there too. But there's some good music in that on that Rap Machine.
Yep, yep. And for Dre's Corner 2, that artwork stands out, man.
It's right here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Who worked
that's
on
my
that?
that the artwork. So check it out. This right here is an actual mural of a wall in Colombia. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So,
that's dope.
I all I did was like I did the artwork myself as far as everything else that was
Hmm.
added to it. I added the logo on there, like the the DRE Colombian Raw logo. And, but when I first seen that in Medellin, I was like, yeah, that is one of the dopest pictures I ever seen in my life. And, the graffiti's big over there too. There's
Yeah.
walls everywhere covered in graffiti, and they
Yeah.
consider it art over there.
Mm.
They don't want to, they don't want to paint over it or nothing like that. It's just,
Yeah. Once it's up, it's there.
yeah,
Yeah. I be seeing a lot of artwork in South America on Instagram.
okay. Yeah, I'm only on Twitter. Like I said, I wish I had the time and for all that, man. But it's too much at the same time to try to juggle all them platforms. Like I don't even go on my personal Facebook page.
Mm.
It's like I just do my Twitter. To me is work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's it. That's all I do. I don't mess around on that or nothing like that. It's just work. Let's see what we can do. And promote, and that's it.
Definitely. And on Dre's Corner 2, you had what'd you produce on there? J1 was on there, right? J1
J
produced.
one, J1, J1 did the two dope boys beat, and that right there, that I put my heart on that one too because rest in peace to my man Brutish, but that's real stories right there. I mean, my man's, he passed away probably about 9 years ago, something like that,
Mm.
and but this is when I was living in Florida. He's one of the first peoples I met in Florida, and we just clicked, Puerto Rican dude, and we was just making moves, you know. But yeah, I got a lot of stories with him. I don't mention him a lot except for that one joint because
Hmm.
you know that one was special for him. You know what I mean? And then on the hook, that's my daughter.
Ah,
Yeah, so she said that one's got, that one's heartfelt right there.
yeah. Her voice fit perfect for that too.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I heard that beat, I hit J1 up. I was like, yo, this beat, I'm like, I love that beat when I first heard it with Outkast. And I was like, man, it don't sound exactly like it, which makes me love it even more. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, I gotta get that. I gotta get that. I got something for it. I got something for it. And he's like, all right, I got you. Sent it to me. Shout out to J1, man. That man right there. He's good people. As a matter of fact, I'm working on the EP with him right now too.
Nice.
All produced by him.
So, yeah. And that's what sets producers apart. Even though, like you
Yeah,
said, it's same as as the Outcast, but it doesn't sound exactly the same.
no, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he did some dope work on Plomo too.
that joint with G Fam. Yeah, that. Yo, shout out to G Fam because he actually brought that out of me on that verse, and I was like, oh, I gotta match this. G Fam got some gully shit, man. I love hearing the way that man rap, man.
Hmm.
He definitely remind me of a lot of people I grew up with.
MOP being one of them.
Yep, yep, for sure. That's for sure. It's funny because I was actually going back and forth with him. I think it was earlier today or something like that. Told him I got an idea for something for me and him, man. We gonna surprise everybody with that.
And one of my favorite joints off of Plomo is Jersey Shit.
Yeah, that's my day ones right there. Those are my two best friends I grew up with in Inglewood, and those were the crew that we were part of, called the EDS clique back in the day. And it was them two, and then there was another dude, and
Mm-hmm.
but they all stopped rhyming, and I was like, look, man, like I'm starting to do it again. I'm like, come on, get on the track, get on the track. And then I wrote my verse and I spit it and I sent it to them. And then they heard that and they were like, oh man, this is dope. We got to get on this.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally did it. They told me that it was, they walked into the barbershop and the barber or something like that was playing it one day. And I was like, yeah, I love that. But yeah, I broke them out their shell.
I'm glad you did, because that joint that's a banger right there.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And that was the first release in your first project for 2021.
Yeah.
And then in October, you dropped the sequel with Jay Furman.
Jay Furman. Yeah, with Jay Furman. Yeah, that one I already had my ideas for that, but like some of the songs were songs that I was thinking about dropping on that first one. But then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? This is gonna be an EP. I was like, it'll probably be dope if I come up with a part 2 for this. So I already did the artwork and everything, like literally right after I dropped the first one. And um, but then like I almost didn't drop it. Like we were going through it. Me and Jake Furman were talking about dropping it and everything. We were promoting it, and then I had something happen in my family. We had we were having a baby, and the baby died.
Oh,
And
sorry to hear that.
yeah, sorry, man. I mean, I can't question why, but things happen. But so like it kind of like almost made me not want to put anything out. Like finish the project, and I still had a couple verses I had to record, and I had everybody's verse already. But you know, my girl got out of the hospital, and she pretty much told me, she was like, I think you should finish this. You know, she was like, I think you should finish it and just do what you got to do to finish it and put it out. So I put it out. And a lot of the verses that I have for it, I didn't even use. I just wrote new ones. And because my mind state at that time was, like I was on some like fuck the world shit. You know what I mean? Like I was angry. I was really angry. So a lot of these verses came out really angry, which actually matched what the project was about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Mm.
but we dropped it. I dropped it, and thanks to my girl, she actually she pushed me to do it, but it almost didn't come out.
Mm. Shout out to your girl.
Yeah, shout out to
I
my
I, I,
baby.
I like the chemistry that you and Jay Furman got.
Yeah, Jay, he is he's special, man. He got he got a unique sound to him that you know that takes it back. When it comes to the sampling,
Mm-hmm.
and like I call him the king of horror movies, man, because like this
That's his thing.
he like a lot of his beats. If you listen to his beats, he's
Yeah.
got those creepy sounds. Then
Yeah.
it's crazy, but it's dope because like for my style, like it actually meshes very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, shout out to Jay Furman, man, because he's definitely one of them producers that people need to wake up and get with him,
Tap
because
in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
he's definitely one of those.
Yeah. And how did you initially link up with him?
Same way as I do with everybody, man. Just you know, we start following each other, and then I
Mm-hmm.
start listening to their work, and I'm like, man, I actually like this, and And then next thing you know, we're going back and forth through messages, and then it's like, all right, let's drop something, you know.
Gotcha. Mm. Now, with his beats being like that, was that the initial theme for it to be, horror related and drop on Halloween?
When I did the first one, yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, you the king of the horror beats, man. I'm gonna send me a whole bunch of beats, and we're gonna drop a project. And I was like, and we'll do it on Halloween, you know. And this was last year,
Hmm.
and then I'm like, man, we gotta follow this up. And we dropped that second one, and that second one is I actually put a lot of thought into it more, and then Mef Luciano did a lot of the sound effects and all of the little skits. So shout out to Meth for that one. You know, and he mixed it down, and he did a good job with it. And the
Hmm.
way everything went, as far as from one song to the next, it sounded like it was scenes, and like if you notice, like the album, I mean not the album, but the titles to the songs, like Machete to the Face. If you look up that scene, it's an actual scene in one of the Friday the 13th movies.
13. Yep.
And the same thing as Fresh Kills, you know. And so I thought a lot more. I thought it out a lot, for this one because I had a whole year to think about it. Where the first one was something that I told Jay Furman. I was like, hey, Halloween is a week away. Let's drop something. So we did that one in a week, you know. So
Mm.
all the ideas started coming through after I dropped it. I was like, man, I should have did this too, you know. But that's why I said, we got to follow it up with that. But I'm actually looking for a way to put them on vinyl, and I'm thinking about either doing part one on one side and part two on the other side.
Ah, there you go.
You know what I mean? But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I gotta get that vinyl connect up.
Yeah. And then maybe you could probably work in the Colombian colors on it like you did on the album covers.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
too many people peep that.
yeah, yeah. I know that Jason mask with the Colombian colors.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's unique, man. And I do most of all my artwork on my own. You know, shout out to Casa for showing me some things. But yeah,
And around the same time that part two came out, you also featured on the Bronx production duo Straight Bangers track, Superfly.
yeah, that's a banger.
Hmm.
That thing there made some noise, yeah, man. Shout out to Straight Bangers for you know hitting me up for that one. I had previously did one for him where me and Meth Luciano was on it, and I was actually surprised when they hit me up. I was like, oh, and then he sent me the beat, and I'm like, ooh, I was like, okay. I started writing immediately. I started writing. I was like, okay, yeah, this is something different. I'm like, okay, so and I had to switch the flow up a little bit too on it. So which was even more, okay, I'm gonna challenge myself to this. But yeah, that's a dope track right there.
Hmm. Now, circling back to your latest release, what's one of your favorite tracks?
On there, off with your head. That right there is pretty much letting y'all know how I really feel about all that. The intro, I love the intro to the project too, because once again, it's me talking to myself. I don't know if you noticed, but that deep voice is me.
Ah,
So
nah, I didn't.
yeah, that's me talking to myself again, but in the form of somebody else, and it's some creativity been doing. I actually did that one. That was the last one I did, and it's just with everything that was going on, I couldn't believe how creative I got with it.
was I gonna say? Oh, with working with Straight Bangers the first time, was it that you got contacted by them, or was that through Meth?
It was through Meth.
Okay.
Yeah, Meth hit me up and he was like, "Yo, I want you to jump on this." She's like, "I think you know you sound good on it." I'm like, "All right, let me hear it." And then, that's it. That beat was sick. I mean, they got some good production, man.
Yeah.
They definitely, shout out to them. They know what they're doing. They work with some heavy hitters too. So in the past. So when I seen who it was, I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely. I ain't saying no to this. No way."
Dope, dope. And coming to this month's release, that crazy heavy posse track by G Fam and Tally Rodriguez. Only Some Can Eat.
Yep.
Tell us about that track, man. I've been running that for a while now. This month since it came out.
Yeah, so G Fan hits me up and he's like, "Yo, I'm putting together this track. There's 3 parts to it, 3 different beats. Are you down?" I said, "Of course." He said it's gonna be mad MCs. I don't even know how many is gonna be on there, but it's gonna be mad MCs. So I'm like, I'm with it. Just send me the joints. So he sends me the beats. So I picked that first beat. I'm like, "Yo, I want to be on that." So he's like, "All right." He's like, "But I need it like right now."
Oh.
So, I had something already for that. That's and then after I heard the finished product, I'm like, man, I was like, this thing is amazing. Like all the people he put in there, I was just like, oh man, like there's a couple people in there I've been dying to work with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, G Fan put together like this is like the Avengers meets hip hop. Like this is serious, but I think more like the Marvel supervillains in hip hop right now. But yeah, man, shout out to G Fam and Tally putting that up together, man. Like that was serious.
Dope, dope. Now you mentioned working with Casablanca on an upcoming project. You also, I heard, Frank Grimes and
Yep.
Raz Beats. You're also working on projects with.
Yeah, I got those 2 projects. I pretty much started those at the same time. Now, um, with all the stuff that I've had a lot of things going on in life that kind of like pulls me away from being creative sometimes. So it's been taking a minute, but like I've been taking my time with them because these are going to be actual projects. It's not no EPs. It's not it's they're going the albums.
Mm-hmm.
So and all solely produced by a certain producer. It's not like me dropping Dre's Corner where I had several producers on there. You know, so the energy has to always match. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
this is so. Um, the Frank Grimes one is about 80% done right now. As far as the recording parts of it, the songs and all that. Right now I have Casablanca and G Fan Black. They're featuring on
Mm-hmm.
it, and of course I put my boys together. But but there's some songs on there that there's a lot of storytelling on the Frank Grimes album. A lot of storytelling. Some some about me. Some I just made up a story and just ran with it. Just telling a story about a certain situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of like I did in Dre's Corner 2 with that Y song. You know. But yeah, that's the Frank Grimes one. The The Raz Beats one, um, when Raz hit me up, like, he was like, oh, I found out he bought the Dre's Corner one. And, he was like, yo, I love that, John. Let's do something together. All through Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, I've connected with everybody mainly through my Twitter or through, or somebody say, yo, hit him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So um he, his beats, Raz beats are not what you would think I would rhyme on. He's like,
Yeah, I've heard
he's
his
more,
projects.
yeah,
Hmm.
he's got a different style. And which actually is bringing a lot of creativity out of me. Um, Switching up the flows. I think I got one of my favorite songs ever that's gonna drop on that project, and it's gonna be one of those that I'm gonna have everybody feeling like, okay, like, you know, like, they're gonna be like, okay, this is something right here. Like, it's one of those songs that, if I was major right now, you hear it in the radio. It's one of those ones.
Okay.
And but yeah, the beat itself, smooth, a real smooth beat. And it's just the flow, the slick talk. I did a lot of slick talk on that album. And that one I could say is about 80, 85% done too as well. And I have absolutely no features on it.
Mm.
So, which makes it, I still have two more songs to make, and I'm still thinking about whether I'm gonna have a feature on it or not. But it'd probably be dope to drop an album without features. Just all me.
Definitely. Gonna check some comments of people checking in. I think is that Casablanca?
Yeah, that's Casa. What up? What
Shout
up,
out
G?
Casablanca. Also,
Casa
you
Del
got
Raw.
Jay Furman checking in too.
Jay
Peace.
Furman, what up? What up?
Dope, dope. Now, being that you saying that the production with Raz Beats has you doing things a little bit different, how do you feel always being up to challenging yourself with your pen?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love a challenge. I did a track with I don't know if you heard of him. His name is Fat Pockets.
I don't
He's
think
out of
so.
he's out of California. I actually linked up with him because this producer that I had on the Dre's Corner too, H Ha, he produced trying to remember what track it was. He produced that Put Away Your Crystal, and
Oh, okay.
he produced the track right before that one too. I'm trying to remember the name of it. So many tracks I got. um, but yeah, he produced. He did like two joints on that album, and so like Fat Pockets, like, you know, I he's got like a different style. Like, his style is really commercial. Like, he's one of those that 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 can you can hear his music, and probably one of those, like, them little fraternity movies. You know what I'm saying? Where they pump when they be pumping that hip hop music, but it's like, like a bunch of white boys rhyming and stuff like that. Like, you can hear his music, like, probably doing something like that, like hitting movies. Like, I could see him making some money
Hmm.
off of that one day. You know what I mean? Um, so he had hit me up, and he was like, I dig your style, la la la. And I show love, man. And then I heard the beat, and I was like, Ace produced it. I was like, this is challenging. I'm like, I gotta go, pretty fast on this. You know what I mean? But I did it. Showing love. I showed love. Man hit me up, and he put it on his project. He actually dropped that project on vinyl, and also because of Jay Furman as well too. That's another way that me and him linked up as well, because there's a song on there that's called I actually put it on the Plomo album as a bonus track, and it's that Pablo meets Georgie,
Mm. Oh, okay.
and that's Fat Pockets on there. So that beat right there. When I first heard that beat was produced by Jay Furman and Grant Four. They both collabed on that beat. And when I first heard that beat, I was like, yo, I want that beat. Like it reminded me of some Tony Touch shit from back in the day. And I grew up on Tony Touch, bro, and that's one of the reasons why I like to mix it up with the Spanish in it too, because he was a major
He
influence
did
for me
that.
too when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
So and so I was like, yo, I want that beat, and then they were like, oh, yo, Fat Pockets already got it. So I'm like, yo, I hit him up real quick. I'm like, yo, I got an idea for that beat, bro. I was like, Pablo meets Georgie. I'm Pablo, you the white boy Georgie. You know what I mean? So that he was like, all right, let's do it. So I sent him my verse, recorded like immediately. Like I already like had everything down packed for that.
He's
And
ready
so
for it. Yep.
yeah. And so he heard it, and I was like, look, I was like, try to say some words in Spanish. I'm like, try to mix it in with some words in Spanish and see what you can do with it, yo. And his verse came out dope. It actually matched up really well, and it's a dope track. My man, Cut Supreme was playing the shit out of that on his show. Yeah, but it was one of those like that. It's a jumpy track. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how things come together in the right way.
Yeah, yeah. All for the love of music, man.
Yep.
You know. So one thing about like when it comes to making music, at least in my point of view, is I don't want to say something I don't want to hear. You know what I mean? So if I feel like, okay, I think people will like this, like I'm just gonna put it out there, whether they do or
Mm-hmm.
not. But I like to hear it. If I like what I'm hearing, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Um, I ain't scared. I ain't shy to do something different. You know, the commercial stuff. It, it, I tend to thug it out every time.
Nothing
So
wrong with that.
that's just me, man. But everybody has their form though.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So is it possible Meth Luciano Casablanca DRE Colombian Raw project?
We talked about it. We've talked about it. It ain't on concrete yet, but that has been brought up. I told them, you know, that would be dope if we ever did that. I mean, that song that we got together, the unit on the 1982 project, like that right there was like, I think that's what you call the origin of what that crew
Mm-hmm.
could sound like. You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Like that was definitely, and Chin Beach, he did his thing with that beat too. So, you know, but yeah, I can see it happening. I'm not gonna get everybody too excited, but
Mm-hmm.
I can see it happening one day. As much as we collab, it's something bound to happen. So.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. Yeah. I know I'm not the only fan that was thinking that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Meth got a style of his own too. Like Meth is mad lyrical. You know, Meth remind me like of a Lloyd Banks. You know, just his wordplay, the way he delivers. Like some people got to listen to him and really understand. Like yo, and once it clicks, it's like oh shit, yo, he said some shit, some serious shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
his metaphors, all that. He's dope. I fuck with Meth a lot. That's my man's right there.
Okay. Now, for any person that first hears your music, what do you want them to take away from that?
Um, when you first hear me, well, it all depends on what song they hear first. You know, if they hear, you know, for example, if they hear Desperados, for example, which is something that it's a track that people love right now. Like that's one of my most played tracks. And the first thing they're gonna hear is that grimy, on there. They're gonna be like, oh shit, like this dude right here. Like they're gonna hear my man Grind, shout out to Grind the Radical. It's my man down in West Palm in Florida. They're gonna hear him and they're gonna be like, okay, this some grimy shit right here, but we're about to hear that beat. I made that beat like 4 or 5 years ago. And that's been sitting around, with nothing to do with it. Like so till I started rhyming again and then that, but yeah, that if people hear that one, they're gonna hear they're gonna hear the hunger in my voice on that one and my lyricalness on that. Because I went lyrical on that. And you're gonna hear the Spanish, me translating it in English as well. you know, um, like I said, but it all depends, like what they hear. Um, most of my music is that raw shit. I
Mm-hmm.
spit that raw, and I spit that street shit. That's just plain and simple. I talk about real shit that people go through. Um, what happens, like a lot of the shit that people try to brush under the rugs and stuff. Like I bring all that shit to light. You know what I mean? Like I talk about a lot of stuff. And also, you know, people get an idea of what it was like growing up as a Colombian kid too, that grew up with a lot of blacks and like that grew up with a lot of different, Latinos.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you hear my style, you don't think, okay, he's like I'm sure when somebody first hears me and they don't hear me speaking Spanish, they think I'm probably black. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And but mixing in that Colombian stuff in it, it just shows my roots. It shows my essence. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it is, you know. But I just think when people first hear me, that I'm probably wowing a lot of people.
Give them that raw.
Yeah,
Dope, man. Drake Colombian raw. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Definitely, definitely. You know, I mean, you explained it right there. I really don't need to go into further right there. You heard it from the MC himself. Go out there, check out his music.
Word up.
1982, Vienna is 13. He got discography for you to really know what he's coming with.
Yeah.
As always, give your shout outs and let the people know where they can support your music.
Well, first you can find my music on all the platforms, of course. You can find it on Bandcamp. Just look me up, Drake Colombian Raw. Um, you know, you want to collab, hit me up. I'm on Twitter, or you can email me. The real Colombian Raw at gmail.com. Um, as far as shouting out everybody I've collabed with, G Fam, Meth Luciano, Casablanca, Jay Furman, everybody, Grant Four, What a Mess, um, J1, Ace High, Fat Pockets, just so many people is just, is involved in all these projects. Raz Beats, man, I can't wait for y'all to hear that. Frank Grimes, there's so much coming out, and then we got that Casa del Raw album that's being worked on, with me, Casablanca, and Cappuccino. Yo, shout out Cappuccino, man. That man right there, bro. He's gonna be like our havoc, man. Like when it comes to those beats, man. And shout out the Emblem, Noah the Flood. What up?
No doubt.
Um, Casa, yeah, man. Shout out my wifey. You know, I couldn't do none of this without her.
She
You
put that
know,
battery in your back.
my kids. My little angel watching over us. You know what I mean? Um, I love my little girl. Love you, Zaya. Um, just my other kids, Juju, Jaylee, Julius, Genevieve. Just I love you all. Um, the rest of my family, all my homeboys. My man Milo, Leo, all y'all. I know y'all watching or listening. You know, EDS click is forever. Remember that. Um, yeah, man. There's so many shout outs. you
So
know,
good.
it's just shout out to all my Colombians bumping my shit down in Colombia. I'm getting a lot of buzz down there. I love that. You
That's
know,
great.
um, my man Iliano down in Colombia, dope MC. All he does is spit in Spanish, but he's dope. He's like a infamous mob version of a Colombian rappers down there. You know,
Okay.
so
What's his name
um,
again?
Iliano Santoro.
I know Santoro. Okay.
Yeah, Don Iliano. That's what he's a dope MC. I actually got something in the chamber with him coming soon, and
Ah,
that's gonna be for all the South America heads down there. Um, so shout out to him, J1. That project we coming out with. Um, I got a couple collabs coming up too that I want to surprise people with, and yeah, man. Jay Furman, yo, that's what up, Jay? If you still on here, but yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on though, for real.
definitely, definitely. Gotta get that word out even more.
Yeah,
And people enjoy getting the insight directly from the artist.
yeah, word. That is true.
So and I got one more question. And I've been thinking about this the whole interview. I know you still got more beats. Is there a possibility of you actually putting out a project of strictly your beats?
If I had the time, yeah, you know, um, when I made all those beats, um, I didn't have my two little ones that I got now,
Hmm.
and my two little ones take up,
I understand.
75% of my time. So whenever I get that little 5-10% to myself, it's for me to write and record. So to make beats is hard.
Hmm.
Um, that plomo beat with Casablanca, that beat was like 7 years old, man. And I've been dying to do something with that. I could never find the right thing for it, and finally did. I'm glad I got to work with that. But um, that My Street Blues, uh, shout out to Paranormal. That right there, that came together so beautifully. That was just so beautifully. That came together like that song right there. If I gotta pick another one of my favorite songs, is that one. But yeah, I mean, it could be a possibility. If I get the time in my hands, I'll start working on beats. But
Dope,
I'll be
dope.
a little rusty for a little bit. But yeah, I could try it again.
It's
That'd be
all good.
dope.
I'm just putting it out in the air. Thank you again for taking the time to have HHDG Media interview you.
Yeah, appreciate you having me again, man. For real.
Definitely, definitely. And we look forward to the projects that you mentioned. And while we wait, once again, he's got plenty to listen to.
Yeah,
Go support. Go support DRE
go,
Colombian Raw.
go listen to that.
Definitely, definitely. On behalf of our HHDG Media crew, we're going to say peace.
Peace.